Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to episode 9 of Vagina Devil Magic, a podcast by me, Lisa Lee Curtis. Yesterday, as happens a lot in the jungle, my internet just went the fuck away. It wasn't even jungle related this time. The provider just had some sort of fuck up and well, shit happens. I started recording this yesterday while offline, hoping the internet would come back, but whatever, I'm finishing it up this morning. And right on time for the birds to be extra fucking dramatic today. I don't know if you've ever heard a yellow-headed caracara, but they are loud assholes. And we will sometimes have one in a tree outside, like right outside my office, screaming away at God knows what. But today we had 3 nearby, not all in one tree, but they're just screaming each other. Like, it was so bad that I actually nuked the first part of this recording and started over because I started laughing and had to go outside to see what the actual fuck was going on. Anyway, they've shut up for now. You'll likely hear them again, that and geckos chirping, geckos that should be asleep during the day, but mine are on copious amounts of methamphetamines or something. It's just a perk of living where I live. So I don't know if you've noticed this, if you've listened to my bullshit before, but my previous podcasts have started out more professional. They'll start out, hey everyone, thanks for tuning into episode 9 of Vagina Devil Magic. And then as I get rolling, I kind of loosen the fuck up and just sound like me talking like I normally talk, which not that it's not a fake voice. It's just, I've got different voices for, what mood I'm in. And I realized the huge difference between the beginning and the end of my podcast. I'm like, okay, you need to loosen the fuck up. So I made 0 efforts to sound professional, and I'm going to work on that, I guess. So today I'm going to talk about more things you absolutely didn't ask for. Since I posted a meme today that reminded me of most posted it yesterday, reminded me of a whole fuck ton of hilarity. But I'm actually going to start with, and I don't know if you follow my bullshit on Facebook or not, but I touched on this there. So the Department of Homeland Security has been hemorrhaging personnel for a while now. This is not new. Though it really kind of started happening that I noticed sometime right after something that happened in 2016, or more accurately, pretty much directly after January 20th, 2017. Shit got dumb and dumber by the day. And I know this because I worked there, as many of you know. No, I wasn't law enforcement. No one's giving me a fucking gun. But I was in a support position, one that I need to tell you is such a joke of a position, in that when I was hired along with like 6 other people, I think it was, they actually had no idea what to do with us. I mean, we were like the poster children of government wasteful spending. We were hired on as GS5 level technicians. I think it starts somewhere in the $30,000 range. So kind of entry-level technicians is what they call it. A technician is like a catch-all administrative support kind of whatever. They can stick in any department. And they had no tasks for us. Like, we were hired and they did not know what to do with us, mostly because someone had decided that they hire us to work at the global entry offices, conducting interviews and other administrative bullshit. But then someone else decided, no, we couldn't do that because we weren't Customs and Border Protection officers and they could only do the interviews. But they hired us anyway and made us, quote unquote, cashiers, taking fees for travelers' visas and duties and the occasional fines, and taking fees from truck drivers, paying commercial crossing stuff. And I got to tell you, especially when you're working swing shift, the 4 p.m. to midnight shift like I was, we were getting paid a fair amount of money to do fuck all. I used to tell people that my job was to hold down this chair with my ass to make sure it didn't float into outer space, and that thus far I had a 100% success rate. And working that job, which I was in that position for 6 years. I moved on to another one, actually another 2 within the agency before I got the fuck out. But while I was there, I had a front row seat to a lot of hilarity working at an international border crossing. People are fascinating, and I worked with both amazing women and men, and then the rest were a fucking clown car full of idiots. I'd say equal parts both. The thing about Customs and Border Protection officers is that it's a lot like other law enforcement adjacent jobs. They're not really law enforcement. They get very sad when you tell them that, but they're not. They work at a border crossing. They're not arresting people. They're not cops, but they think they are. Some of them do. It's embarrassing. But anyway, there are people who will sign up for the quote unquote right reasons. And I've met plenty of people who don't suck, that are there to do all the good parts of the job and are great with human beings and are the people you want in that job. But on the Canadian border, especially, like 95% of it is administrative. It's stamping passports. It's doing paperwork. It's taking fees. Occasionally, you do find somebody objectively terrible trying to cross into the country, and then the enforcement side of things comes into play. It happens. Rarely, but it happened, and it was interesting to be there for that too. Then going back to the fucking idiots I worked with, they're the guys who watched way too much television and dry humped every God Bless America slogan that they were fed, and had absolutely zero business working with the public in any capacity, let alone in a position where they carried a goddamn gun. My God, I mean, it wasn't that all of them were actively bad people, but so many were so fucking ill-equipped to function in a medium stress environment, let alone one that lent itself to shit going sideways. Great example. A very sweet guy I worked with, and I say sweet with an asterisk because he had some other issues, but generally a sweet guy named, let's just call him Travis. Travis was a fucking idiot. And I mean, he was just simple and gullible and really, really, really wanted to be a tough guy. He had so many guns and he liked to show them off. But Travis was just Travis, And the two biggest problems with this guy, other than the fact that he was dumber than my dog Wilson, and that is saying a lot, is that he was very, very bad in a high stress situation. For instance, I saw a weapon drawn 3 times in my 6 years working directly on the floor at the border crossing. All 3 of those times, it was fucking Travis. And not a single one of those times was it warranted. This is a problem. Every time it happened, it was Travis either drawing a taser, which accounted for 2 of the incidents, and another one where he drew his fucking pistol. There was no threat. Excuse me, there was one threat, and it was fucking Travis. And each time his colleagues were like, whoa, Travis, hey, and having to reach through the fucking fog that was surrounding this guy's brain matter and talk him down off the ledge. Now, one would think this would be grounds for dismissal, like the first time. But no, it absolutely was not. It's one of the things about that job that was both great and terrible. It wasn't a no-fault employer situation where they could fire you because they didn't like your left eyebrow on a given day. So that was nice. I got in some dumb trouble myself for absolutely not fireable offenses over the course of my tenure there, but in an, no fault or whatever it is, or at will employer, I think that's what it's called, at will, they can fire you if they don't like you that day. It's so yay. And a couple of those instances were when I was there. I had investigations into me for quote unquote misusing my power I had with Homeland Security or some shit, because I had a stalker, some guy from my hometown, who would say so in his complaints to my agency about me, that I was using my power within the Department of Homeland Security. I had no power. I was a cashier. I had Google. So that was fun. That didn't result in me being fired, obviously. Or when I, quote unquote, used my work email to send large files that would tax government systems. Oh, excuse me. When I emailed myself 2 one-page PDFs that were in regard to a traffic accident that was when I was rear-ended by somebody at work. Then I had to explain to one of my superiors, heavy air quotes on that one, that this isn't a large file, that a PDF is not considered a large file. And then I had to explain what does constitute a large file. And that, let's just say in comparison to folks I work with, i.e. everybody, his fellow brass, everybody is constantly on YouTube and streaming and stuff. Maybe before you call me to the mat, maybe learn what constitutes a large file. That's a whole nother story. Anyway, didn't get fired. Anywhere else, they could have decided, hey, I don't like you and fire you. So that's great. And I should also add that this falls under the butthurt emails heading of dumb things. I wasn't fired or arrested and put on national television for my part in my bad deed, because what the fuck ever. They're really overplaying the emails thing. Anyway, I wasn't fired for that. I wasn't fired for any of the things I got spoken to about over the years I was there. But also, my buddy Travis wasn't fired for repeatedly drawing his weapon. Another guy, let's just say his name is Marvin because he looks like a Marvin. He was in his early 60s at this time, where he crashed a 20-something neighbor's 4th of July party. So this guy fucking, ambled over to some kids in his neighborhood, got super drunk, and then angrily set off a fucking boatload of fireworks in that person's garage, burning down the garage and injuring a few of the partygoers in the process. I know it was off duty, but you might think that this would warrant being fired for not using good judgment because he was a supervisor with the U.S. Customs and Border Protection. But no. When I say you have to murder someone to get fired from that agency, even then, probably not. It's ridiculous. Anyway, all that to say, a bunch of folks, former government workers, got an email yesterday from the Department of Homeland Security with the subject line, "Return to mission." What? Okay. What? And you look at this. So it came directly from all caps, "return to mission." So return to mission. I like to just say it loud because it's all in caps at ice.dhs.gov. And y'all, they're begging for people to come back to work for them in the capacity of deportation officer. Never mind that this isn't a job title that used to exist, and never mind that they're sending this groveling, propaganda-filled plea to people who never worked for ICE. They're desperate. It starts out with, and I'm going to go into professional voice now. "Dear former DHS colleague, you served the United States of America with distinction and honor. Now your country calls upon you to serve once more. Due to the prior administration's disastrous immigration policies, the men and women of ICE and DHS are at large now face unprecedented challenges. Your experience and unwavering commitment are critically needed to secure our communities and uphold our laws." And I'm going to pause real quick because I'm trying not to laugh. And B, there's typos in just this first paragraph. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. Like I said a few minutes ago, DHS has been hemorrhaging personnel for a while now and offering huge retention bonuses to keep people from early rage retiring or, just good old-fashioned major career change. "Please, we'll give you thousands of dollars to stay." But it wasn't enough because people were like, I see the way this is going and you can go fuck yourself. And between that aspect and the fact that the agencies under the umbrella of DHS were just getting ridiculous when it came how to handle morale, like your staff is miserable, things are getting worse, and let's just do more shit that makes them even more miserable that wasn't even necessary. I could go on about it. It was absolutely insane. And they're like, why won't people stay? Really fucking dumb. But this, damn, I mean, yeah, with this great offer to answer the call to serve once more, they're adding all these perks. And y'all, I could be high, and I probably am a little. But weren't they just trying to tell us how broke the government was and how they were going to cut excess spending and how they're all about government efficiency, blah, blah, fucking blah? Oh yeah, well, now with this return to mission fuckery, they're offering a signing and retention bonus of up to $50,000 to be paid as follows. An initial signing bonus of $10,000 upon returning to service. An additional $10,000 signing bonus upon return to service if you finish and submit your application by August 1st. You have a week to do this and you get 20 grand instead of just 10. And then for the next 3 years of your dedicated service, once you join the brown shirts of Project 2025, once you become a deportation officer, you get a $10,000 bonus to be paid annually for the next 3 years on your service anniversary, the date of hire. But wait, there's more. If you've retired and you're currently receiving a pension, they will still pay your pension and your new salary and tens of thousands of dollars of bonuses. Jesus Christ. I mean, this isn't even the biggest government waste example out there and not even the most embarrassing one, honestly, from within the DHS umbrella. Dude, I could bore you for hours on the way these dumb fucks waste millions and millions and millions of dollars while saying that they can't afford health care for trans folks in government service. Just within DHS, it's batshit. And when you add the Department of Defense and the military, and I'm sure there's more, but these are just the big three that I have direct knowledge of because of my jobs I've held in the past. It's just fucking gross. But they convince people that it's true. Oh, we're broke. Yeah, you're fucking broke. And if for some reason you want me to go on more about that, I'll do it another time. But I wanted to share with you that the people who consciously got the fuck out of being a government shill are being wooed back with promises of riches, you guys. And yeah, people are going to take them up on it. There are people, no one I fucking know. I know so many people who used to work there and happily no longer do. But I know some people will. We're in a capitalist hellscape and money talks. I just don't think it's going to be as successful as they're hoping. So yeah, speaking of pathetic, let's get back to the aforementioned meme that reminded me of hilarity, because I'm pretty much tired of this last subject. I mean, don't get me wrong. I might consider going back to DHS for a hot fucking minute if I were in the States, just to once again, be a menace. Though I'm not sure that I could squeak through another background check at this point. I mean, real talk. The reason I applied for the job I took at DHS in the first place was kind of jokingly, hey, I wonder if I can pass a government background check. And I still can't believe I did. I really can't. But now I don't know. So, especially since when I left, I was under investigation for anarchy, prostitution, and stealing food stamps. And this was, again, because of that fucking guy who's been stalking me since 2017. No, God, I think it was before that. Whatever. Anyway, it's a moot point. So anyway, the meme of hilarity was actually a screen cap of a social media account user, Stone Cold Fox, specifically Stoned Cold Fox. I felt that was necessary, saying that their absolute favorite brand of Reddit story is men posting things like, I bullied my wife into an open relationship and it turns out she's a very desirable goddess and I'm somewhat of an unfuckable troll. How do I fix my relationship? I mean, this is, a paraphrase of something, but I've seen it in the wild so much. I mean, where do I even start with this? I have so many stupid examples of this just in my own life. I mean, not totally as cut and dry as this, because aside from one past partner, a man I was with for a while years ago, and, I'm a giver. So I brought home this woman who I was into and she was into me. And long story short, we crawled into bed on either side of him. And after his initial, what's happening? We all had a great time. Fell asleep. We had pancakes the next day. Very wholesome. And, this guy was all, dear penthouse letters, I never thought this would happen to me. Right? But we had a great time. It was good. But then he became kind of obsessed with this continuing to happen. I'm like, nah, dude, no, that was a one-time thing. And he's like, but I wanna. I'm like, yes, I'm sure you do wanna, but this is a one-off thing and not something we're going to just be doing from here on out. And yes, I know, very mean of me. And then he's all, well, what if we find someone together? And I'm like, yeah, good luck with that idea. And I try to explain that this shit happens better organically because a couple looking for a third is like the most common fucking annoying thing going on at that point in chat rooms. And unicorns aren't that fucking common. Unicorns being women who are actually like down for that kind of shit, because why would you be? And no, I wasn't just going to go on the prowl myself and then go, oh, hey, surprise. My guy partner very uniquely requests a threesome because that's where you fucking lose him, right? And rightfully so, Jesus Christ. He did not like that. And I'm like, listen, men have the fucking advantage on so many aspects of life, and it sucks. And I get how hard this must be for you to accept, but this is an arena where you absolutely do not have the fucking winning hand, my dude. You just don't. Go out there and do your fucking best, buddy, but don't be surprised when it doesn't work for you. And it's just true. I used to have a bit in my stand-up where I discussed this, how I could be 3 days past a very necessary shower and have been sleeping in my car for the last week while on the road, and I'm still going to get laid tonight. All I have to do is show up. And it's not because I'm some hot babe or anything. It's because men are easy. And my actual line was something to the order of, I've been on the road for like a week. I definitely haven't bathed. And well, I smell vaguely of Pop-Tarts and semen. But you want to know what? I'm still going to get laid tonight. And then I go to the whole rest of it. And of course, there are the times that I've said this and had guys really get me by saying, I wouldn't fuck you. And you know what? Cool, Trevor. I never said every guy wants to fuck me. I mean, your dad definitely does. But, the guy sitting at the end of the bar definitely does. But there's always going to be some indiscriminate wang who doesn't care where he gets his dick wet. And all I'm saying, if I didn't want to be alone and I'm also indiscriminate, I don't have to be alone. And then he'll try to come back with, oh, yeah, well, I know a lot of desperate women. And I'm like, yeah, buddy, I'm sure you do. Every last person you've probably fucked was just desperate or bored or lonely enough to do so for whatever fucking reason. But again, you're purposely missing the point, and you know you are. So yeah, when men who get into their head that they want to open the relationship because they think this is going to be their hall pass and have forgotten to do the R&D part of the project, the research and development part, because if they had, they'd know that no one wants to fuck them. It's a rookie move, really. I mean, it reminds me of back in high school. I was dating this guy, someone I'd been with at that point for like a year, and he broke up with me, a real cowardly kind of way. He did it too, and he made sure his buddy was there, so he had a reason to leave, and it hurt. I was pretty devastated. But it turns out he broke up with me specifically to go out with this girl, Alexis. The problem with this whole plan, Alexis had absolutely zero interest in him. None. She barely even knew who he was. And I remember hearing this, and while I was still cheesed off about the whole thing, I was like, wait, he broke up with me to date her without finding out whether or not she was even interested in him? Wow. I mean, seriously, the audacity of these fucking guys, the guys that open up their relationship or the people who do this, it's like they are overestimating their market value. So in the meantime, since he had broken up with me, I went to a movie with a boy named Scott, someone I'm still friends with, and two other people, a guy who's a fucking predator. That was a spoiler alert. That's another story. And a girl who she was in my friend group, but in the last few years, she's taken a hard right turn into Trump funkery. So that's fun. Anyway, we all went to see Crocodile Dundee 2 or some shit and drink wine coolers. And then the next week at school, ex-boyfriend, the one who dumped me to date a girl named Alexis who did not know he was, didn't care about him. He was super salty that I was going out and having a good time. He broke up with me, ostensibly to date this other girl, but due to his lack of forethought, he ended up sad and alone and cranky that I was out there living his fucking dream or some shit. He fucked around and found out. And, I get accused of being a man hater so much. No, I love men. I love some men. I don't love all the men. I've loved way too many of them, but that's a whole nother story. The lack of self-awareness, while it no longer surprises me, it will never not be kind of simultaneously sad and amusing. Like every single one of these dudes who just casually suggests to their partner, oh, hey, you know what might be kind of fun? What might be kind of sexy? Without any self-awareness whatsoever, they develop this whole scenario where he doesn't have to leave his wife for whatever reasons. Maybe she's the one making the money. More likely, she's the one providing all the domestic labor and emotional labor, and he isn't quite ready to give all that up. So he lobs it out there that they should try fucking other people. And then when she's getting laid on the regular, now he wants to work on his shit. I mean, come on. And I need to add in here for anyone in the poly community and, polyamorous community, and maybe especially for those outside of it, this shit isn't polyamory, okay? This shit gives polyamory a bad name. Polyamory is a conscious, deliberate, respectful, whole nother species of relationship. It's valid, and hats off to anyone who isn't so fucking annoyed with the thought of one person, let alone a polycule, that the idea gives them hives. No, this is a dude who wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants people to eat his cake, but his cake is that one crusty, dry remaining piece in the break room that probably has mustard on it from somebody holding their hot dog too close to it. And no one wants to eat that fucking dry-ass mustardy cake. You better be real fucking sure that your cake is desirable and there's any sort of interest in your crusty grocery store mustard cake. I don't know if that's a great analogy, but that's what came to me. And now I want cake. On the same line here, oh my God. Every guy I've been with, seriously, nearly every single one, since I became a very out bisexual horn dog, they think they're so fucking sly. They're like asking me about oh, you're bisexual? And then they ask about the women I've been with. It's like, okay, whatever. And these guys, I swear, they'll get all thoughtful looking. Then they'll smile a little and go, you know what I've always wanted to try, but I've never done? No, really, I've never told anyone, but maybe you'd be interested in helping make this happen. No, David, no, I'm not interested in helping you fulfill your dream of having a threesome. Well, that's not what I said. Okay, then what was it then? I mean, okay, I mean, that's what I was going to say, but no. And then we get to the whole it's not fair, and you said you like women, and you've been with women, and no, David, no, Billy, Timmy, no. So then you offer a compromise, right? I mean, again, I'm a giver. I said, fine, Dave. Fine, I'm down with a threesome. You're right. It's a great idea. I'll go looking for a second dude right now. No, wait. Turns out that's not the compromise they were looking for usually. Sometimes. That's always a fun surprise. Anyway, listen, I don't begrudge anyone for wanting what they want, sexually or otherwise, as long as everyone's willing and it's not harming anyone, whatever. But I am not Make-A-Wish Foundation for sad men. I stopped doing charity work in that arena years ago, decades even. I'm just not nice, especially, going back to the meme that started this whole line of conversation, especially when you're somewhat of a unfuckable troll and I'm, a very desirable goddess. And while I was recording this, it occurred to me that this is kind of the equivalent of our marriage sucks. Let's have a baby and make it better. That's also adding a third party to a coupling that's, going south very different way, in a very, very different way. But if you're already miserable with your partner or bored or whatever, adding that third party or fourth party or whatever the fuck you're looking for, it's not going to fix the base issue. Your foundation is fucked. Either rebuild your foundation or just, move into a new house. I mean, is it that simple? I mean, it should be. Anyway, this is me giving relationship advice or something. Anyway, that's enough of that. Thanks for tuning in. The internet is still on. The bird stopped screaming. I cannot believe it. I don't think I heard a single gecko chirp. Hallelujah. Anyway, see you next week.